Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. I'm your host, Roman, and we have a good show planned for you today. Don't forget to stay tuned to Warriors Talk at 6 p.m. with my girl, Rochelle. Well, I'm here by myself today because I feel like it's one of those days to have a rant. A lot of stuff has been going on, especially in our community, and I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again. And you know what? I'm going to say something that my mom, my aunties, and everybody else under the sun told me not to do, but I'm going to do it on this show. I told you so. I told you so. And the reason I'm saying I told you so is because you effed around and now you're finding out. This time over the summer, Trump said some messed up things. And I had several rants regarding our civil rights. I said the 14th, the 15th, the 14th and the 25th Amendment. The 14th and the 25th Amendment will be key. And guess what's happening? The 14th and the 15th Amendment is key. Our civil rights is slowly being diminished, and he doesn't give a you know what. And I told you so. A lot of people, including some of the blacks that I've talked to, and they said, "Oh, he's just playing." Is he playing? Is he playing now? Nah. Look at what's going on in Texas. Is he playing? Does he give a sugar honey iced tea about those girls dying? Over 100 people perished. He doesn't give a you know what about the weather. He doesn't give a you know what about us. He only cares about the rich and the rich only. You effed around and now you're finding out. Now, Governor Hot Wheels over there is looking for any old excuse of the reason why. Well, we didn't know this much water will come. We just didn't know. Uh, we had alerts and stuff. That was after the fact. Right now, in our community, meaning the black community, we have to wonder, is this fool is going to start taking black citizens away? Because guess what? He's throwing it around. He's throwing it out there. You effed around and you found out, you're finding out the true mannerism of this so-called man. My last rant, I called him the Suge Knight of politics. And it stands true to this day. Donald Trump is the Suge Knight of politics. You look at this right now and you say to yourself, those 100 plus death could have been avoided. You say right now to yourself, of all the things that we're accustomed to has been cut or diminished altogether. Our civil rights is slowly diminishing. And you say to yourself, well, we have a freedom of speech. Do we? Do we have a freedom of speech? Ask ABC that. Ask CBS that. They're chicken. They need to go and to Harold's and Uncle Remus and Coleman's Chicken because people are scared of this man. People need to realize he bleed blood red just like you and I. And you wonder why Blacks are in this situation. Blacks are so divided. And why are we so divided in a situation where our ancestors have fought for us to, to be united? Yeah, you can have separate opinions. Yeah, but when it's time for us to come together, we're worried about somebody else. We're worried about what's going on over here. We're worried about instead of worrying about us. H. Rap Brown, and I keep on bringing this quote up every single time. Only us can protect us, and only us can help us. A lot of people sit there and say, how did we get into this situation? How did we? Because we thought it was a joke. We thought it was a joke. And our rights are not a joke. What's going on right now as we speak in the Black community? I can tell you right now, I will sit there and say that the only people that say it's not happening is the Haitians. The Haitians have fought off ISIS in Brooklyn, ISIS in New York. Whenever there's a Haitian neighborhood, they coming out with bats, 2x4s. You mess with them, you take one, you gonna take us all. The Haitian community on the West Side, a family on the West Side, and it's documented. You can go online. And I thought they were messing with the police, but the police was messing with them trying to take somebody away. And that was on Lockwood and Laramie. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it's in that area. And I know the street is Lockwood. I think Lockwood and Madison. Lockwood and Madison. And only thing you can see, you can't see the whole clip, but it's like 2 or 3 minutes. And they were fighting them. And I'm like, what's going on? Now, me, without knowing the content, is siding with the police. And I said, there we go again. There we go again. And we got to stop. That includes myself. We got to stop doing that to each other. Find out the facts first, then make the comment. We didn't know it was ISIS. We didn't know. They were fighting for their freedom. And if I was the AG of the state of Illinois right now, I would say, I'm going to propose a bill that if any ISIS come from the federal government, you must identify yourself for a first and last name and ID number. You cannot wear, it will be illegal to wear those masks. If you arrest someone, and if you arrest someone, you got to let them know what they are being arrested for. There are several Black men, several Black women that have been detained because they were Black. It's a violation of civil rights, the Miranda rights. If they don't read the Miranda rights according to the Constitution, they must be let go. You just cannot arrest people just cuz. And guess what? The Republican Party is thinking about that. They can pluck somebody off the street and arrest them because they don't like you. They don't like your skin color. They don't like your hair. Just cuz. This, a lot of people would say it's a beautiful bill. Nah, it's something that you can wipe your butt with. That type of bill. That's what it is. It's nothing but the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poor, the middle is getting poor. That's what it is. ISIS is going, these security guards down there in Texas and Florida, they're making Alligator Central in Florida. And guess how much they're going to make every week? $3,000 a week. Look it up. $3,000 a week. Hell, I'm thinking about moving to Florida and becoming a security guard for $3,000 a week. But at the same time, I'm looking out for our rights. And they're just getting people without their name. They're stalking people at Home Depot. I remember it was crawling with Mexicans. Now you can barely find one. Some of them really need to work. But I always say this, what about us? In the Mexican community, always they're knocking on blacks' doors, on the black organization doors. They're knocking on our doors and say, help us. Help us. And I hate to be harsh, but I'm saying, for what? Help us for what? Help you for what? Because you wasn't acting like that this time a couple of years ago. What about that man in City Hall, at City Hall, basically telling a black woman, no money for you, no more money for you? Where is he at? Detained. You effed around and you found out. You effed around. They will blast, I'm proud to be an American. I'm not proud to be American. I'm not. Because our rights. Do you think this is a test run of what it's about to be? And I keep telling people that. And they're blasting, I'm proud to be an American. I said this on a live on the 4th of July. And I'll say this again. Frederick Douglass did a speech on the 4th of July and said, what is it to a slave on the 4th of July? Why are we celebrating? Why we're popping fireworks? Why are we doing the boots on the ground dance on the 4th of July? Why are we doing that? And knowing our rights are being stripped away, it's nothing to celebrate. And I said this over and over. Like I said before, and I'll say this again, I'm the first to be at somebody's barbecue with a doggone plate in my hand saying, where's the food at? I'm the first one to come to a Juneteenth party with another plate in the hand and say, where's the food at? Fill it up with some ribs. Fill it up with some chicken. Fill it up with some macaroni and cheese and coleslaw and potato salad. Fill it up. But no. No, it's not the time. I know there's families that celebrate both, and good to you. And I say this, if you're going to celebrate both, you have every right to celebrate both, but know what the hell you are celebrating. Slavery was still going on July 4th. What is it to a slave? Why should I call and stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of the America, to the republic, because the United States was a republic to which we are stand, because they want you to stand and show respect. One nation. We're not one nation. We are far from one nation. Then we gonna sit there and say under God, under the same breath, God is not pleased. And yes, I'm saying this and stealing this from the comedian. He's not pleased. And I said this over and over and over again. When God is not pleased, you will know about it, because he will sick Mother Nature on you. Look at what's going on in Texas. That's not just coincidence, people. It's biblical. God's not pleased at all. He's not. What are we doing to our people? Remember, God said, don't harm my children. Once you come out of the womb, you are God's people. You are God's children. And guess what Governor Hot Wheels is doing in Texas? Racist DeSantis is doing in Florida. You sit there, you effed around, you thought it was a joke. Are you laughing now? Are you laughing, the Latino community? Are you laughing now? While your grandmom is being deported and we told you what was going to happen. Then you want the black community to save you after you ridiculed us, laughed at us? Sometimes even put the middle finger up? Nah, And I understand the philosophy of Dr. King. You turn the other cheek and you help your fellow brother and your fellow man. But, and I will say some, and it's not all of them, but it's majority of them that I have bumped into that basically said Trump is going to take away the criminals and stuff like that. And I'm like, you really think that? Yes, he said he said it. I trust his word. Do you really trust his word? He will sit there and say things and he will flip. He's a demagogue. We were the first one on this show, and I said it last time and I'll say it again. We were the first one to call him a racist. We were the first one on this show to call him a dictator. We're messed up. How can we fix it? That's a question. And the only thing I can say is we need to vote in large numbers like no tomorrow. We need to vote by mail. We need to vote. We need to vote. Democrats need not only get through the threshold of beating the Republicans, they need a super majority in the House and the Senate. Because in my lifetime, I want to see the first black House Speaker. Jeffries to take that gavel away from that Smithers loving blah blah blah. If you watch The Simpsons, he looked just like him. He looked just like Smithers, kissing up. Donald Trump, and I keep on. I was saying this to myself. The Simpsons, the cartoon, had it right. Donald Trump is starting to look like he's starting to look like that boss, that Homer Simpson. I forgot his name. But Smithers, the kissing Smithers, that's Johnson right there all alone. That's him right there. Do you believe the audacity that they have right now to sit there and say that Trump can pluck somebody off the street and arrest them just because he can? And they want to make it law. Sometimes you think you're in a movie. This is real life, people. This is real life. What is it to a slave on the 4th of July that Frederick Douglass said? What is it to a slave? Because if you don't think that this man would say, are we free? Are we totally free? But I will tell you, I did my research and I researched this hard. I'm doing my dissertation. Hopefully I can finish this. But with that being said, Abraham Lincoln did a resolution. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, his fourth and forever enslaved people will be free. He didn't say from this month to that month. He said forever to be free. It scares me because it was a resolution. And if anybody know politics, like I know politics, a resolution can be override by an executive order. We can take the word forever out, but nobody said, hey, we need to put this into law. That's where you have the 13th Amendment. But don't you think they can do an addendum to an amendment? Don't you think they can do that? We need to think about our rights and our civil rights. That Dr. King, people that was there during the civil rights, that was there, and the people who never got recognized in the march. We have the head of education, Linda McMahon, that don't know what AI is. She calls it A1. So you're going to pour A1 sauce on the educators and A1 sauce on the curriculums. You have people that don't know what they're doing and they're governing us. And it's sad and it's scary. You think you saw a scary movie? This is it. This is showtime. Where your fans at now to crack it? This is it. This is showtime, people. And I wish that these athletes can band together and be on one accord. Schroeder, basically said one thing that made sense that I never thought about. The sports industry is treating blacks like slaves, enslaving people, because they're going to one plantation to another. Meaning they go one team to another team to another team, get traded, they get millions of dollars, then they get less money, this, that, and the other. In 1 year, Stroder got traded to 5 or 6 teams in 1 year. That is unheard of. That is unheard of. You go to football and you see that they have to weigh themselves in front of people. They have a white trainer go to the waistband. See how much body fat they have. You don't think they did that in slavery? Those are slavery methods, slavery tools. And athletes don't think they are enslaving people. You are. You have to abide by the white people rules that's paying you those millions. But then at the end of the day, you're thinking, oh, this man is getting $81.5 million. Woo, that guy is getting $100 and some million. Woo, that guy is getting this type of money. Man, I would say, man, I wish I can get that type of money. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're broke. Ask any type of retired basketball player that, football player that. Ask them. Ask them right now. And they'll tell you they have to pay dental, health insurance. They have to pay, if they injured, it's only so many years. And if you retire, you got to make a choice. You're going to pay all that money to stay on their health insurance. They have to pay a fee, a phenomenal fee of thousands of dollars to stay on the NBA, NFL, baseball, so forth and so on. Health insurance. And we got to understand that they're adding games for a reason. They're adding games for a reason. Here's what I'm saying on my rant. You think our rights is going to stay. If we don't fight for our rights right now, because if we don't pay attention to what's going on in DC, what Smithers is doing with his gavel, people are saying, so what you want us to do? I'm telling you what we need to do. Vote. On November 6th, 2026, you better get your black you know what to the polls. That's what we need to do. We need to start voter registration drives right now. What we need to do. They're trying to gerrymandering Republican districts, Democratic districts, and turn it over to extend to Republican district. Because they know what we're doing or trying to do. They know. And if people don't know what gerrymandering is, it's basically if I'm a Republican and I know this black neighborhood votes heavily Democrat, I'm going to try and take some of that territory and kind of make that Republican. Only thing they need is a couple of percentages here and there, and they will win. Why you think Trump was pissed when he didn't win? Why you think he didn't want people to mail in those ballots? He didn't. And the reason why is because he knows about the Constitution. He knows that if we gerrymandering black districts go a certain amount of blacks, Republicans can stay in office. Republicans think they are entitled to the damn presidency. Republicans think they are entitled. I'm seeing white people when they signing a bill playing YMCA. YMCA. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for this. For a party that's so against gays, so against transsexuals, so against transgender, so against everything that has a GAY, you're playing YMCA? One of the gayest songs that they play at the club and stuff like that. One of the gayest songs. That's what you're going to do when you sign a bill. YMCA. And I'm not going to say, and I want people to read the context that I'm saying because I'm not bashing. I'm just saying that you have a Republican Party that's totally against it, and they're playing the gayest song. Young men, are you standing out there? Come on, people. The largest hypocrisy ever. But we refuse to call them out. We're so scared of Agent Orange, the Suge Knight of politics, Trump. I said on my last rant that, man, it took a black woman, a black man, and a black woman, attorneys, to take him down to size. Those 37 counts of convictions that he have, it was blacks that did that. It was no white lawyers. Blacks attorney generals did that. And we keep forgetting that blacks are putting on their Superman cape and saying, here we go again to save the damn day. Here we go again. If I was the AG in Illinois and you guys said, what is the solution? I told you one, we got to get our black you-know-what to vote. That's one. Here's two. We need to pressure the AG to come up with legislation immediately for ISIS. When they come to Illinois, you must register. We need to know your first, your last name, your ISIS number, badge number. It is illegal. We should have that in the books. Illegal to wear the mask or the hoodie mask. And I think that should be across the board for everyone because that's how people cannot identify you. That's one. Two, Three, we should force Miranda rights. Miranda rights. Look it up. Miranda rights, if you watch Law and Order, if you watch any type of Law and Order, they will say, excuse me, sir, you are arrested for the murder of such and such, such and such. They have to tell you what they're arresting you for. You just can't arrest nobody. That's in the Constitution. Miranda rights. Due process. Sometimes I get upset because it's like some of the people that represents us, it's not for us. And I say that because of the Essence Fest that happened over the weekend. And I am so glad that people have pulled out of the Essence Fest. There is no way Target should have been a sponsor for that. You gonna give them a pass? What we're getting out of the damn deal? Your pockets are fat? What commitments were made? That's the same thing for the National Baptist Convention. They gave them $500,000 money. Nothing. Crickets. Do they realize it was a protest? Do they realize something was going on? And we keep on forgetting that the biggest damn hypocrite is Walmart. It's Walmart. Walmart. Get me to Aldi's any type of day, but if Aldi's is a part of it, we need to do something about them. A lot of people sit there and say, well, Roman, you're just ranting. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. Because we should have cared and run our butts to the ballot box to make sure a 37 count president. He's not my president. He's your president. He's not mine. And I called it right. There is us that only defeats us, and that's H. Rap Brown comment. Only us can defeat us, and only us can help us. And that stands true to this day. Because if we are unified as a people, they cannot stop us. They can't. They can't. You know how many times I ask people, come on a drive at 5? How many times I say, you know what? Your story needs to be told. Come on a drive at 5. You know the number one thing they say to me? How much is your viewership? How many people watch your show? Does it matter? Does it really matter? Long as your story is told. Is it affiliated with iHeart? Does it matter? If the highest people of politics can sit at this damn seat, so can you. And that's why I get mad, and that's why I get upset, because the separatism, and I went over what the ism means. Isms mean what side you are on. That's what ism means. A lot of people say, well, during the election, they were saying, Well, they're both snakes. Well, hell, have Kamala Harris bite me any type of damn day. You got the venomous snake right now that doesn't give a damn about the people in Texas, that doesn't give a you know what about the girls in that camp. And a reporter asked them, "You didn't say anything about the horrific tragedies in Texas." Well, I'm thinking about going on Friday, thinking about going on Friday. If that was Biden, if that was Harris, come on, people. Jasmine Crockett has given $32 million out of her own pocket. And that's not even in her doggone district. What Cruz is doing, sitting there saying nothing. And you know what's surprising? The Smithers of the House basically said to people, what kind of resources are you going to give them? What's going to happen to FEMA? You can't blame this on Biden. Is FEMA going to come out there? What type of resources these people need? You cut funding. Where's Red Cross? You cut funding. Red Cross specialize in natural disasters. And people don't want to listen. Girl, it just goes in one ear and out the other. But when you speak your truth, people will sit there and think you're crazy. But I want you to get what's going on. I want you to get it. What's going on up here? Because your truth is important. Your truth elevates you. That man's truth in the White House is money. Why people are spending millions of dollars to see this man, I do not know. I don't know because he does not have good business sense. He does not have good governance sense. He does not. You will pick Linda McMahon to head up the education without no education experience. You got somebody every time that I listen to his voice. Kennedy. Sound like Rocky when he's drunk. I think I have more experience than him. I'm fearful that COVID might come back in a vengeance. I'm fearful already STD rates and all that stuff is at a new high. Look it up. I am fearful that, and I hope I am wrong, it will be another shutdown because this man doesn't know what the HE hockey sticks he's doing. And I'm going to say this to the parents. Parents, don't send your kids to school with a cold, runny nose. Don't send your kids to school like that. You got a whole definition of snot-nosed kid. But there you go again, getting everybody sick. I'm saying this for a reason. We got to protect ourselves. We got to watch what we're doing. My thing is, they're going to do everything to suppress the vote. Register to vote now. If I was like I said, if I was the head of the Democratic Party, I will have voter registration drives going up right now, making sure people will vote. Making sure, I don't care if you registered, register again. Hell, we're in Chicago. I don't care if you did it 25 times, long as you are registered to vote. We got to do better. When it comes to my rants, I got to talk about Chicago politics. On the news, they said, what, 55, close to 60 people got shot. 8, maybe 10. Some people are still in the hospital. But do you know how many shootings? It was a lot. You know how many mass shootings on the 4th of July? Humble Park. And it brings me to tears that a mother killed her newborn baby. What's the reason? Mental illness. And before I even went on a live, it was a breaking news that something in front of Channel 7 News on the red line, something happened. Big police presence, paramedics right there. Somebody got stabbed on a CTA. And I thought they was going to have security on a CTA. What's going on? What happened? And then you want to know why people don't want to go take the CTA or the red line? Uh, Hell, I'm like, if it's on the south side, I'll spend the money to take a doggone lift. You have people saying that because their safety is in jeopardy. We got to do something regarding our teenagers. A lot of people say we got to have events. We got to have this and that and the other. And I'm with you on that. But these organizations that get paid money is not doing their doggone job. They're not doing their job. What happened to events downtown? They get paid for that. What happened? We sometimes you get lost for words. You get lost. And every single time I'm like baffled because you say you love the kids. You love the children. But what are you doing about it? Another thing that we need to start discussing, our governor is running for a 3rd term. We got to think about that, people. We got to think about that long and hard. Intellectual family, we got to think about this. Because if people are for real about second chances, social justice reform, guess what? Stack high, 3,500, maybe even more of commutations, pardons, just sitting on his desk. Just sitting there on his desk. And you have all these organizations saying we're social justice reform for real, for real. Are you? then do something about that. Do something about that right now. Do something about that. It sickens me. And these parents, if you don't take the belt off, and put that leather on these teenagers behind before they get 18, I don't know what to do and what to say. Stop being their friends. Stop it. Stop being their friends. You listen to GCI just like him or her, fighting over the same man, just like, are you kidding me? Yes, grandmoms are getting younger. I understand that. But in the South, back in the day, I know times are different, but back in the day, they will make you responsible for taking care of that child and doing it the right way. Sometimes the internet is not good to raise your children. We got to stop that. We got to stop it. We got to stop it now. And for the mayor to sit there and say that crime is down, crime is this, crime is that, I'm saying this. No, it's not. It's just not. I gave you the solutions. We got to push forward, our people. We just do. We got to put pressure on our Black elected officials. And our Black elected officials need to do their job. They just need to do their damn job. That's it. That's simple. Because you know why? Our rights is at stake. Our AG needs to put walls, barriers. Just in case you try this, Trump, I got this for you. Play bizwiz with his butt. Play Uno on him. I said this over and over again. The only reason they said this before immigration got out of control, it wasn't in the courts. And I'll say this again. We got to start putting stuff on the courts. That's it for my rant. I thank Earl Winfrey back at the helm as our executive producer, Wanda behind the scenes. You guys have a wonderful week.